What's up YouTube? It's been a while. It's been some time since the last video in here. Usually I'm at the gym, and last video I think it was the posing video. So I think I'm going to give you, well, firstly this video is going to be a Q&A. So we're going to just answer questions that you guys have sent in. But also it's going to be like a day in the life in a way. I mean, we're not going to film too much stuff in terms of like meals and stuff. So it's not going to be like a full day of eating. It's going to be more just my routine whilst we answer these questions. But I thought it would be a good time just to give you an update on where I'm at currently in this phase, because it's been a while since I've actually talked about kind of my journey in terms of training. So right now I am around 3 months away from dieting. So we started this push it was November when we started this push. So that is, quick maths, what is that? I think it's been like 7 months. And yeah, we've gone from 82 kilos to 92 kilos now. Well, I've actually changed my body weight scale. I was stepping on the body weight scale and it was just always giving me different readings and stuff, and it was just being really shit. So I've got a new scale which has added a kilo onto me. So right now I'm actually like 93.5 kilos. So, but in terms of actually body weight gain, because it was an old scale I used at the start, I'm up like 10 kilos. And yeah, feeling really good at this point. We've got a few months, like I said, to just go up to 96-ish potentially, start the diet from there. And we'll go down from 96 kilos all the way down to 78 kilos most likely, which will be a big diet, but one that's required to bring the condition I need. So we might be dieting for like potentially 16 weeks, depending on how things go. So it might be like September, October, November, December. Finish the diet just before Christmas, which will be perfect. Appetite really high. But in terms of training, it's been going good. Just, I feel like this push up has been my most productive so far. Like I've definitely grown quite a bit. So compared to the one before. And I think that's due to the hormonal position I'm in. So just being like healthier, not spending a longer period of time away from being really shredded and, you know, messed up. Yeah, so that's currently where I'm at the moment, and just excited for prep. Prep is not that far away. It's nearly June. I don't know why I need to check my phone for that, but yeah, it's literally 10 months until prep starts, which is crazy, and that's going to come around really, really quick. So I started this off-season thinking it's going to be really long. Actually, prep is just around the corner. So we're going to train push today. It's going to be the same session that we filmed like a horrendous amount of times. Every time Aaron seems to come round, because I've actually just changed my split, which we'll talk about more in the future. But every time Aaron would come, it would always be this push session somehow. And therefore, we're not going to film the training as much. What we're going to do is just do the Q&A and stuff. But we've got that push session that you've probably seen a million times. But we're going to start with some questions. So I'm just going to pick one right now, and we'll just talk about that, and then we'll kind of continue a little bit more later on. So in terms of the first question, so which one will we start with? Would you mind describing a little bit of your process in becoming a successful coach? So my biggest advice, if you want to get into coaching, gain credibility, gain lots of credibility as a coach. And you can do that in two ways. You can do that through like training clients and gaining credibility through the results that you get with clients, or you can gain credibility through walking the walk, because you need that experience within yourself as well, because you can't be telling people to do things if you don't know what they feel like or how they kind of work in terms of like the day-to-day feeling. Those two things need to be done for credibility. So when I started coaching, I was at college. I was actually going to university. I studied history at university. I wanted to go to university. I wasn't 100% sure what I was going to do yet, but I gained that credibility through training people for a very low price. I actually started training my friend first for free. That was the first thing I did, and I got results. Okay, so I got results on people, and then I got results on myself. I focused on my bodybuilding journey more than anything though. Like I really pushed that whilst I was at university. I still did that. I competed, I won shows, and I also gained credibility as a coach. So therefore, when I wanted to push my business further, I had word of mouth. So I had people talking about what I could do for these clients. I had kind of my own results, and I just had the experience to apply onto more people now moving forward. So that's kind of what got me to where I am as a coach. And then after that, when I left university, I focused on growing my business for a year. I told myself I'm going to give myself a year to focus on my business as much as possible. And after that, if it's not in the position I want it to be in, and I feel like, you know, maybe I could be using my degree in history, I would do that. A year later, everything was in a really good spot. I knew that this was like what I always loved doing, and you know, if you can do your passion in life, that's a huge win. So that's what I pushed with, and here we are. So yeah, hopefully that's useful. So just a pre-warning, if I'm sniffing at all in this video, it's because hay fever started. Every year I get to a point, I'm like, I'm going to get the hay fever jab, I'm going to sort it out, and then it comes around, I haven't done it, and now I'm fucked. Hay fever is just annoying. It's not even nice. It's like, well, obviously it's not nice, but
it's just a cold without feeling ill.
Yeah. And I'm doing check-ins and I'm like, oh no, I'm going to sneeze. So I'm kind of like this, I'm like, don't sneeze. So if my facial expressions get weird, you know why. But yeah, if I'm walking around sniffing, that is why. So yeah, I don't know, some countries don't get hay fever. Like when I go abroad, sometimes I don't get it.
Yeah, it must just be the pollen.
Yeah, it's grass pollen. It's May, it's like end of May, June, start of July I get it, and then it goes. So it's not that long. It's not really long enough for me to get the jab, but yeah, it's not fun. So yeah, happy days. Just making pre. So Elite Sups have sent me quite a few different supplements. I'll just show you some of the options, but I'm going with, I honestly think this is such a good combo, so we're gonna go with this for push. I love this, it's especially for the focus stuff in it. Like I think, what is it? Which one is it? Cognatic. It's some sort of cognitive enhancement sort of blend, which is really, really good. Yeah, the stuff in here for focus and pump is very, very, very good. And then you stack it with this for some caffeine and it's the perfect setup. But some other things that I've got, Elite Labs Basic. So this is for performance. Take this every morning before you train. So it's got like base alanine, it's got betaine, anhydrous, Pico 2, which is very, very good. Very good for performance. And then, yeah, another good pre that I'm trying at the moment, which is very good, MV Pre 365. A lot of you probably know MV Pre, very, very good pre-workout. This is basically similar to that, but it doesn't have the really strong stuff. Like, I don't think it's got DMA. And what that does is it's actually banned within 2 weeks from a show, so you can't take it within 2 weeks out. But it makes you very, very like wired up. And when you're heavier, you can't really tolerate that. And it's also high in caffeine. This is more focus, nootropic stuff, and pumps, and a little bit of caffeine, but not as much as the normal MV3. So it's very, very good. Tastes good as well. Then another one I got, Trained by JP, Do Not Fucking Miss, which is pretty strong. You can take 1 or 2 scoops. 2 scoops is 400 milligrams. I'm excited to try it in the pre-prep diet. I have had it already. It's very, very good, but I only do 1 scoop. But when I'm deep into the pre-prep diet, I'll send 2 scoops of this. When I can tolerate a lot of caffeine, I'm sure it'll be very fun. Yeah, so gonna mix this. Got my intro as well. These EAs, the supplements everywhere. I have to leave the supplements up here because otherwise I can't get Milo having an MV pre. So I just keep them up here for safety. Peach, sour peach EAs taste unbelievably good. Probably one of my favourite tasting EAs. So nice, especially in summer. So that's what's in there. It looks good. And then we've got some carbs in there as well. So yeah, that is what I'm running for pre. So today we've got defib and blow up. But there are some other options that I've got at the moment. So yeah, time to head to the gym and train push. Let's do it. So we're en route to the gym. We're just going to do a couple of questions on the way. Figured it'd be a good time to do it. So I had a question asking if you can grow big legs without a squat machine, without a hack squat. And just, yeah, good exercise selection question. So you really don't need a hack squat to build big legs. And I'll tell you why. It's like, when we think about training any muscle group, it's about getting strong in every part of the resistance profile, with a stretch, in the shortened range and the mid range, okay? You don't need to do a hack squat to do that. You can, for example, different leg presses actually provide different resistance profiles. So if you take a pivot leg press, that's heavy in the short at the top. 45-degree leg press tends to be heavier in the stretch. So what you could do is just do those both. if you only have one leg press, you could alter resistance profile with a band. So you could do a 45 degree, you could put a band on it, and then later on you could maybe do something that is more stretch challenged. But you could also just do like a leg press banded, heavy in the short, and then you could do like a sissy squat or a Smith machine squat with just a lot of lengthening occurring, a big stretch bias, pausing in the stretch, knees over toes loads, and that will allow you to train the stretch in the short. And then you just want something that kind of challenges that mid-range area as well, ideally. But a lot of squat variations do challenge the mid-range, especially a Smith squat. So basically, long story short, is you don't need a specific exercise to grow your muscle. You need to get strong in every part of resistance profile, and you can do that in many different ways. A leg press is probably a leg extension and a leg press would say the two most important movements for building big legs because of the stability. I don't want to contradict myself now and say, oh, you need to do those, because you don't. Like you could do other things, but like as long as you've got things that you're stable in, like a hat squat isn't needed as long as you've got a leg press. So yeah, don't worry, you can definitely make that work. And whilst we're on the topic of leg training, someone asked me about if I have ever had knee problems, and I have had knee problems actually, not badly, not to the point where I've not been able to train something. I've never had that. I think I have. I don't know if playing rugby a lot when I was young and playing lots of sport helped, but I do have quite resilient knees. However, one thing I would say is when my knee issues were the greatest was when I used to train on the hack squat with my feet higher. Now, a lot of people think, oh, low stance, you're going to get bad knees. I think it's the opposite, and I'll tell you why. When you train your quads, you can't train your knees. When you train your quads a lot, and you're working in that shortened position a lot, you can get your quads to be quite tight over time, especially if they're not recovering enough. So the biggest thing that causes joint pain is tight muscle groups, and that's why you're probably getting knee issues, is because your quads are tight. Having your feet lower, what does it prioritize? It prioritizes a very low stance to allow for lots of lengthening. So when you lengthen the quad out more, you're getting more stretch. When you get in that stretch position, spending time in that stretch position is going to improve your mobility, versus the worst thing for mobility is not training through a full range of motion. If you're doing short reps and you're not getting into that deep squat, you're just training your muscles to be shortened off more, not lengthened out. So my knees are better now with a lower stance. I used to have a problem when my feet were higher and I wouldn't own that stretched range as much. I'd go down really quick. It was more like a glute bias hack squat. And then I would also do potentially movements that are very heavy in the short, where my legs are almost locked out and there's not much challenge in that stretch position. So doing mobility stuff outside of training to allow for your knees to be healthy, like split squats with your knees over toes, let your heel come off, doing that is really important, but also just training through a full range of motion and you won't get knee issues as much. And if you have a knee injury outside of that, so say you've actually had like a bad injury, that's when it's different. That's a different situation, and that's when you might not be able to do a low stance and you have to be more careful. But that's not something that's going to get worse over time through patterns of training. That's always related to tightness. Hopefully that makes sense. So we're at the coach, about to train push. I apologise in advance that you probably, if you're a loyal subscriber, you may have seen this session a few times. However, stay tuned, because there is a new machine being put in, which I can't wait to try. So that's going to be very exciting. An amazing machine press that we've got, which is going to be good. But yeah, so I actually did a deload last week, starting this new split, which we'll talk about in another video. We'll save it for another video, but it means that this is the second session at full volume. I did legs. This is going to be the first push session at full volume, so we'll see how that goes. We've got high incline Smith, which we're not going to film too much of, but maybe the top set, and then we'll show you some highlights. And then we've got Steve. He's actually called Surab, but he's called Steve, so very different names. But I was like, how do you pronounce your name? He was like, you call me Steve. I was like, all right, I'll take that. So we've got Steve coming. He is 4 days out, which is crazy. We're going to do some posing with him. We'll show you kind of how he's looking, because I mean, he's in absolutely insane shape. Crazy good for 22 years old. Wild. and the changes that he's made. Like he started working with me 3 weeks ago, 3.5 weeks ago, and he's just put the shift in to get him where he needed to be. Like he was behind, like it was pretty damn behind, and we've got him almost like ahead, or well, not ahead. You can't be ahead 4 days out. You're just there, but he's basically, his condition's a strong suit for him. Like it's a strong point for him now, which is crazy considering it was going to potentially be like a weaker thing for him. It's not anymore. Like he's done the work. Very good at protecting his tissue too, and it just shows how important training execution is. Like his training is like outstandingly good. Like if you're struggling to protect tissue in a deficit, it's probably because your training isn't where it needs to be. Anyway, yeah, let's crack on. Ready to train. Defib's kicking in. We're gonna get after it. Let's do it. So you'll see me rocking the MBW tracksuit, which has just been released. It is live. So if you want this, go to MBW clothing, because it is such a comfortable piece, honestly. Really good quality, very, very nice. You can see the back. The back's the best bit in my opinion. It's very cool. So yeah, really good MBW there and there. I really like this style. I think it's really cool, and I think they're releasing more stuff like this, which is exciting. But yeah, I definitely recommend it. Very, very comfortable tracksuit for training. Perfect for push, which is what we got. Yeah, so I got 5 last week without a spot. That was like 5.5. You probably noticed I'm not using a spot. The reason being is because I find that I've been using a spot on things and it's been masking where my true failure point is. So if you're like finding that you're hitting stalls with training and you can't progress, it might be because firstly the spot is taking it from you too early. You might be forced into reps that you can't even control. So if the spotter takes it from your second to last rep at 2 reps in reserve, helps you a little bit, you're already very fatigued, and then you go into another rep, that last rep, your form might completely break down. And then the spotter doesn't know how much you need, and it can lead into a pretty inaccurate rep. So I've been finding not using the spot on presses has been helping me a lot. And as you can see, I failed and it was pretty safe. I just rehooked it and just brought it down. So it works pretty nicely. So yeah, I'll take that. So they've got these 2 new presses in. I used the incline already, very, very heavy. This is a lot lighter. They're both like flex presses. I don't know if they're exactly the flex or like similar sort of movement patterns to it, but very, very nice. I'm not gonna lie, like this piece is really nice. The only issue is it's quite hard to get in, but I'm just about all right. Just have to go a bit wider. If you're here, it's quite hard, but it's very light. Yeah, very nice. Do not be scared to push hard at the start of the prep. Do the work earlier on when you're fresh and you can get away with it. And that means don't be scared to bring your food down low enough to do the necessary work with fat loss. People nowadays are quite scared to run their food down into a big enough deficit at the start. There's this narrative nowadays, I think everyone's heard it, be resourceful, don't use your tools too quickly at the start of your prep. And that is true, but the degree to which it's true, like the amount you actually implement that can hold you back. Because if you get so scared about bringing your food down lower at the start, all you're gonna do is be very, very soft closer on to the show, having to then bring your food down really low at the end and do loads of work with fat loss when you're closer to the show, when you're more fatigued, when you've been exposed to a deficit for way too long and you can't tolerate that level of rate of loss. When you're fresh at the start, you can cope with fat loss very quickly because you've been in a surplus for a long period of time. When you have more body fat, you can also cope with fast fat loss. So something I've been implementing with my clients, if you're a little bit behind at the start, just bring the food down low, be assertive. You'll find that you won't adapt that much for a while and you'll do the work you need to do to be ready on time early so you can coast into the show. Anyway. We'll just keep going up in plates.
Per side.
Luke did 4 per side. Fucking hell. That is unbelievable. Oh, fuck. Next question. Is 4 meals better or worse than 5 meals a day? Is it less optimal? Can you do 4 meals a day? So I think it depends on the person. So if 5 isn't sustainable for the person, there's no issues with doing 4. However, I think from a digestion perspective and utilizing food as well as possible, you're going to find 5 meals per day a lot more sustainable long term. And what I mean by that is like, yeah, it might be all right when you're dieting, but when you get further into bulk and food is really, really high, you're going to have to inevitably see a lot of volume in those 4 meals. And I don't think it would be as easy to get the calories in as 5 meals. Also, you're going to experience a lot of carbohydrates within each meal, which therefore can see maybe the pancreas being demanded more, having to release more insulin, having huge spikes in blood sugar all at once. You know, if you're having like plus 200 carbs in every meal, which for some people they'll have to do. And also, if you're having a lot of food at once, the ability to digest it will be worse. You might be rushing it more, and you just got to tolerate more food at once. If you can spread your food out more evenly, you're going to use that food better. When you digest food better, it is used more efficiently. Carbohydrates are used better and more efficiently. So that's why I prefer 5 meals a day when you can do it. But if you feel like 4 works for you, you can run it, and you might be fine with it in the push-up, but you might run into these issues as I've just said. But it is about sustainability, it is about finding what works for the person, because for some people, their lifestyle doesn't really work to do 5 meals a day. And then if they're stressing and they're just combining loads of meals anyway, it's better to ease that stress off and just set different demands. When you train to failure, you actually have to train to failure. Like you actually have to fail across all ranges of motion in that exercise. So I see a lot of people when they train to failure now, or they think they're training to failure, they don't actually fail at getting it short. They'll just slowly just let it drop off. You've got to make sure you fail at getting it short first before you're doing length and partials. Because you're actually not training to failure and you're not learning to train hard before doing the stazzy stuff like the length and partials. And people are getting too caught up in that as opposed to just training really hard. Fail at getting it short and then you go into partials. If you're doing a lateral raise, I see people, I can't get it short anymore, I'm just going to do this. Try really hard to get it completely short first. You should be trying really hard, give everything to it, and then you can't do it, you failed at doing that. And now you fail more in the mid-range, then you fail in the stretch. That is how you take a rep all the way there. That's crazy. Just try and get a bit more width, like retract first, yeah, and then point your fist down a bit to the floor so you get, it will just naturally bring things out a bit. Wait, forget that. Just do what you did last time, because you're now, you know when you scat, you're retracted right now. Just go into it again like usual. You're still locked up in the other side.
I feel like I need a fucking massage or something. This always happens when I pose.
The reason you're struggling to get it out now is because you're not retracting first. Do a row.
Yep.
Now go pull them out all the way. I don't know what's happened. Like, your elbows are just retracted. So like they're like, you need to spread them out. Puff your chest up. This out.
Try and teach someone how to like open their lats, but I feel like one of the hardest things like to explain.
So basically just go like this. Just roll it around. Roll your lats out. Roll everything round.
It's still tight.
Don't push your fist down like I said. Maybe that's the problem. Yeah, do that. Go into it again. Is this tight here?
Yes, a little bit. I have like a right. This happens when I do like there's sometimes when I hit a real lat as well. This side will open up and this side will just sort of do this.
So you just roll them back all the way. Right, now you imagine you're doing a T-bar row and you're lengthening out everything. So imagine you're in a T-bar row. That's it. Now puff your chest up. That's better. This here. This needs to come out. I wish I didn't say anything because I feel like confused. It's really important this doesn't happen on stage, not gonna lie.
I can feel it not.
Right, just lean forward. Hang your arms down loads. Like really reach, like just hang. All right, now, no, okay. You're hanging here, hang from here. That's it, like more. And then this here, there. That's, now bring your chest up. That worked. That's the position you want to be in. Do you get what
Yeah, I can sort of feel my lat. Yeah.
Now just now in that position, just keep everything the same here, but just bring your chest out. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Now just bring tension here, like bring your elbows back, like puff your chest up. There you go. That's it. Nice. I don't know. You look better. You still look better when you first hit it. I'll show you. I don't know what you were doing the first time. Just like that, yeah. Just there. There. That's it. Nice. Good. Hold that. Just lean to me a little bit. Yeah, that's it. Perfect. All right. Cool turn. I think you need to get an emergency massage in. Tomorrow or something. Or just get Aiden or someone to get. That's sick. That's crazy, man. Wow. Cool turn. Nice. Front double. That's really good. perfect. Front lat spread. Oh wait, yeah, hit that for classic purposes. So that's, I think you just have your legs a little bit closer. I think you widen them up a bit much because it takes, you're making the gap big in between your legs. Yeah, that's better. A little bit less, a bit closer even. There. That's perfect. Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, nice. Just lean to me, like chest over your hips, basically. Just get that's good. Yeah. Nice. Side chest. Good. Try get on the glute. If you can. I think it's fine. You are on it. It's just nice. Back double. Yeah, it's wild. Okay, do that again. Pull in first. Now in that position, reach your hands all the way above your head. Now do a pull down. Pull it in. Yeah, just keep your chest a bit forward because because the lights. That's it. Don't lean back to it. Now get into it. Yeah. That's good. And lat spread. That's it. That's perfect. Just lean to me a little bit down. There. Good. That's really good, man. It's crazy. Tricep. Nice. So in classic, I would still start with the proper side try.
Yeah.
So have your legs like.
Oh,
yeah.
I didn't actually practice this because after I had the session with Christian, I've literally just been doing
Really?
this.
Well,
this.
luckily it's just like side chest.
Okay.
Just
Okay.
you're pretty easy because they'll get annoyed. I know Christian says, but Lee's very different. They're just in that. Keep your chest up. Yeah, there, nice. So you start with that. Now go into what you did. Now turn around and then hit the quad. And I wouldn't even hit the side in the bodybuilding. Just hit the normal one like you just hit at the start. As in the side chest. That.
Yeah.
Hold
Just
that. And at the very end, you can maybe stick your leg out, but don't turn with the quad because they get really funny about it.
Okay. But is that legal for classic or? Will they allow that for classic?
Yeah, at the end, yeah.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah, abs and thigh. Just crunch a bit more on your abs. There's the last bit you can, there, a bit more, breathe out a bit more. Yeah. That's it. Nice. Most muscular. Bring your hands a little bit higher, like there. Yeah, you got some there. That's you get so much wider like that. Do the crab. Yeah. That's crazy. So yeah, that was a really good session and a good catch up with Steve. So session-wise, progressed high incline by half a rep, which is always good. Whenever I ever progress that movement, I'm happy because it's a very stubborn movement usually. Really enjoyed the machine press as well. Very, very nice. It reminds me exactly kind of like the flat smith, but instead of me having to remember where the intent should be on a flat smith, because obviously it doesn't converge, so you kind of try and just drive from the upper arms, the machine moves in that pathway for me in a way, like it converges really nicely. One of the favourite presses I've used, in terms of resistance profile perspective as well, because it's still challenging in the short, like it is somewhat challenging in the short, but it's heavy in that stretch. And I just find that a lot of presses that get so heavy in the short are very, very difficult to progress. That's why for clients, a lot of the time I'll program kind of Smith presses or dumbbells more than machine presses, because a lot of the time these machines are very heavy in the short. So not all the time, but that's what I like to opt for a lot of the time. So yeah, Steve's looking absolutely superb. So the amount he's changed with the carbs going in was really impressive. And yeah, when you carb up for a show, please give yourself enough time. Don't be doing these like 2-day rapid backloads, because the first thing that will happen, the thing that's happened with Steve, is that fluid shifts off, body weight goes down, and all that new conditions revealed. So you're dropping off stress. You're not filling, you're dropping off stress. So when you do it in a shorter time frame, that process gets extremely skewed, and it's very hard to track data. If you drop like a good 2 pounds of fluid, how much do you know you're filling? Not that much, right? You're not going to feel much at all. So the best thing I would recommend is plan your preps well, get ahead early, be ready early, allow yourself to have a nice steady linear load across 1 to 2 weeks, at the very minimum 7 days. That's what Steve's doing, and it's worked really nicely. And now we've just got a few days of chilling, just steady carbs going upwards without cramming loads of food in. Right, so you'll probably notice I'm wearing different attire now. Yeah, so it's actually the next day, because me and Aaron were filming some stuff at MBW as well. But we just thought we'd just do some of the more of the questions now, and actually once I get a chance to sit down and just go through them. And whilst there's a lot more questions that come in now, like there's quite a lot of questions on here. If you just send in a question and I didn't answer it, I apologise. I'll try and get back to some of these on Instagram, to be honest, as well. But also, like, we always do Q&As on YouTube, so there'll be another one to come. So someone asked, what is the difference between a deload versus several days off? So deload sessions versus days off. What is the difference? So in my opinion, I think taking several days off, so that makes it sound like it's like almost like a week, right, isn't really that useful. I think 4 days off is very useful. I think once it goes beyond that, I think like it could help. It could make you really fresh. But I think it wouldn't be as good as doing like 4 days off and then a few volume sessions. Because when you take that level of time off, once you return to full volume training, the soreness is going to be super high. You're going to have to do these deload sessions anyway. So that week off, you know, it's going to take you a while to readapt to progressive training. Also, the skill element of some of these movements might feel a bit rusty for certain individuals. So I always prefer to kind of do like maybe 1 or 2 extra rest days and then deload sessions, devolume sessions. But it's not the be all and end all. You know, either way, you're going to get very fresh from it, and you will catch up with movements very quickly once you crack on. And you will also be really fresh when you take a week off. If you need that level of freshness, like if you need to take a whole week off because you're very fatigued. So another question is, how lean do you want to try and get within a mini cut? In a mini cut, the goal is essentially just to set up your next bulk. When we think about like progressing a physique as much as possible, we're thinking about spending as long as we can in a surplus. When we look back on like a few years, if we just didn't compete for a few years and we were just focusing on developing our physique, we want to look back on those few years and see that the majority of that time was spent in a positive position to progress, getting stronger in the gym in a surplus, and responding to training well and responding to food well. So a mini cut is essentially just to make sure you respond to food well again and create room again. So you just literally get as lean as you need to be to stay in a surplus again for a nice amount of time. Like we're talking 8 months at least. So, you know, it doesn't need to be beyond that. Once you're really lean, it's actually taken away from that, because essentially you're actually eating into your performance, and also you're going to have to recover after it. With that last thing I said there, someone else asked a question about like, how do you approach kind of a post-diet recovery phase? So what do you do when, you know, wait, where's the question? Hold on. Oh, there it is. Right at the top. That's why I couldn't find it. How do you handle a post-cut phase, recovery, and then back to a growth phase? So if you need to recover after a diet, you've gone too far, maybe that's like a prep, right? Then you would want to get food quite high pretty quick in terms of just bumping it up significantly to get some initial body weight on, to get you back to that condition where you want to be starting to push up, where you can still have a good 8 to 10, 12 months to grow from still, but you're just getting into a better position to feel good in the gym. Because sometimes when you're super shredded, hormonally you're affected, and also that you're in a bit of a hole in terms of just not fresh. And it's important to get maybe like a couple kilos on pretty quick, because it's not a good place to be for optimal training in terms of performance. So, you know, initial bump to food and then just hold it there and let it stay there for a while, because you will adapt to that intake very quickly as well. People are scared. They think they're going to just get fat. They're not. Like, you will adapt, provided you manage the nutrition well. Someone said, I used PEDs 2 years ago and it was only once in my life. Can I compete naturally? In the IFBB you can in a year, which is ridiculous, but you can't in proper natural shows. If you take gear and then you stop for a few years, you've had an advantage in my opinion. And I feel like that rule needs to be changed a little bit. Like, I think in the INBA it's 7 years, so you could be, as long as you've been natural for 7 years, you can compete again. But you still will get advantages from that time spent assisted, 100%. Best shoes to wear when training upper body. So I would always go with like a flat, stable shoe. So like Nike Air Jordans are pretty good. Converse, something where you've got like a lot of stability and they grip the floor well, so you can brace and feel set up from the ground up well in your upper movements, because single arm rows, seated rows, lat pull downs, even your presses, you need to be braced through your feet, like stable, and you can only do that if you have the right shoes. 100%. I wouldn't wear like bouncy trainers when I'm pressing even, let alone legs obviously. Someone said, do you think shoulder pressing is vital? Heard mixed opinions on it and that laterals are better. Want to show some love, keep the hard work going and the YouTube videos. Appreciate that, mate. Thank you. Shoulder pressing, is it needed? Is it required? I think that in my opinion, when we come to physique development, we shouldn't have gaps in performance, okay? So while shoulder pressing might not be required in terms of doing like a completely overhead press, like a high incline isn't really overhead, and I think you should be doing that. But if someone asks you to press overhead, if you're extremely weak at doing that, then you probably should do it, because it will probably correlate with your physique. You'll probably have a gap there. Your anterior delts will not be strong enough. People like to think that you get a lot of anterior delt in like presses anyway, in chest presses. And you do, but if your chest is extremely strong, and there are people like this, they have crazy good chest development, but their anterior delts are very far back developed. And then you're getting into this press and you're super retracted, and you're like this, you're actually not getting that much delt. You're getting all pec. Those individuals will be getting all pec. Those people need to be doing something overhead to bias anterior delt in that way. A high incline will do enough, provided you're not retracting in it. So as long as you're keeping your setup the right way. It's very easy to go, oh, you don't need a press. It depends on the setup, what you're doing in your chest presses, and it depends on your physique development. Tips on learning vacuum, except for giving it time. I don't know if time is going to make you vacuum, to be fair. I think you actually need to practice it. What you want to think about is taking all the air out and then create that vacuum, that space. The best way you could do it is lean over something, so you're leant over, and then it's easier. And you've got to practice going the other way as well. So take the air in and try and create like a bloated stomach, like make yourself look pregnant. And then go the other way as well, and you'll have really good abdominal control. But the best thing you could do is practice that every day, like leant forward, so you're over it. That's the best way you can do it. So what's your best tip to everyone who is underage and wants to go into bodybuilding? Focus on enjoying training and getting strong, and just enjoying the process of turning up and seeing improvements with your training, okay? Focus way more on the process of training than your physique, and just love to get strong and progress your numbers, okay? That's the best thing I could say. Be consistent, always turn up to your sessions, and love training. If you don't love training, you're not going to turn up to your sessions. Consistency is the most important thing, especially at a young age. You just need to be getting after it and getting in the gym consistently moving forward. If you are nailing your nutrition and all that stuff, but you go in the gym and you don't train hard, it's pointless. Honestly, it's just completely pointless. Train hard across loads of different exercises and just keep doing that process, and spend less time in a deficit. Don't worry about getting soft. Don't worry about spending time a little out of shape. Abs are overrated, I can tell you that. It's not worth it. Thoughts on Richard adding a gym class into his split? I didn't know about this, so I'll I'll be chasing him about that. That's funny. I know Richard only him would be doing a spin class or something like that. I know. I mean, you posted a video of him skipping the other day. He's turned into a hybrid athlete, the only pro hybrid athlete there is. How to know whether you're doing too much or too little if you hit a strength rep plateau for a lift? Well, the best way you could do this is, if you're doing too much, do less. If you get stronger, you know you were doing too much. So how do you respond to a deload? If you get stronger on that lift because you deloaded for a week, there you go, that's your answer really. If that doesn't change anything, maybe you need to be more intentional with volume over time. Chances are, if you can't progress bigger lifts, you're doing too much. If you can't progress the isolations, you might be doing too little, because they're less fatiguing, and you can drive volume up on those areas without it really being detrimental. But the volume that will hold you back doing loads of sets is the bigger lifts, your presses, and as you get stronger, you'll be able to tolerate less. So it depends what strength you're at, but if you're really strong, you might be doing too much on those bigger lifts. So yeah, I think that's pretty much like a lot of questions done. But yeah, like I said, I'll be getting back to some of these on Instagram as well. Appreciate you guys watching. We'll keep the YouTube coming. And yeah, the season's starting, so 2 days until Steve's competing now, which is really exciting. Can't wait to be at the UKFBA to see everyone again and just watch the show. It's going to be good. And yeah, I will see you guys very soon. Catch you in the next video. Like and subscribe, all that stuff as usual, and I'll see you soon.